Well, before I begin on inviting my next speaker and introducing our next session, I'd like to request all of you to take a look at the AV screens as we get set for that. And our next address is a very special address, Institutional Framework for Developing Air Cargo, and we have with us Shri J.K. Dadu, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Commerce and Industries, Government of India. Let us put our hands together as I request Shri Dadu to please join us on stage. I thought we weren't sleepy after lunch, so let's put our hands together. He's been kind enough to join us, and I'm sure we look forward to his support. Sir?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's tough to speak to an audience which has just had lunch, but let me try. I'm going to discuss a lot of issues relating to air cargo, both connected with the government and all the stakeholders. First, let me give you a brief introduction. By 2020, it is estimated that the aviation market in India would be number 3 in the whole world after US and China. Those of you not familiar, the Ministry of Civil Aviation, and I believe the economic advisor of Ministry of Civil Aviation is walking in. They are going to develop a national aviation university to develop academic standards of international level for all types of skills that are required in the aviation sector. Just to take the introduction a little forward so that more people can join in, Delhi has been adjudged as one of the world's best airports in the 25-40 million passenger category. And Hyderabad has been adjudged number 3 in the 5 to 15 million category. These are great achievements for our airports which earlier used to take a lot of flack. Now coming to the government, we have 2 very important committees called the Standing Committee on Promotion of Exports Shipping and Standing Committee on Promotion of Exports Air. I will deal only with the air because that's what our subject of discussion here is. We try and have a multidisciplinary personnel in the committee so that we sort out all the cargo related issues. I am not sure whether we are able to sort out all of them, but we make an honest effort. It has 29 executive members and 3 ministerial members, that means Joint Secretary Revenue, Civil Aviation and Railways. Now let me throw some figures at you. The cargo handled by Indian airports from 2008, 2009 to 2013-14 is on the board. You can see we have made an appreciable growth, but not as high as we would like it to be. The domestic growth has almost been twice in these 6 years, while the international growth has been about 30%. If you look at it in terms of the 5 airports, you can see Delhi has done the best along with Kochi, and the others have also followed suit, Mumbai, Bangalore and Hyderabad. Now the funny thing is, the capacity utilization of these major airports, if you look at, Bangalore and Hyderabad have touched 60%, while Delhi is at just about 27.5%, Mumbai 25% and Kochi 35.5%. Now what are the reasons for this? We'll ask our friend Panikkar to discuss during the panel discussion, but this goes to show that we have created sufficient capacity to last at least the next 5 years. Now, if you look at the actual and the projected cargo, this is a study done by FIO, so it's a recent study. If you see the figures projected for 2018-19, by 2014-15 we are very close to that figure already. At Delhi, so is it for Mumbai, Hyderabad, Kochi. In fact, Kochi is overstripped the target projected, and so has Hyderabad. And Bangalore is close by. So we wish we should be able to achieve these 18-19 targets well in time. Now let's go to some of the issues which plague this sector. I will try and outline all the issues, and then my friends who are sitting here could add on to whatever they think is required. The first thing is real-time benchmarking of operational standards of all the stakeholders, namely the airport authorities, the cargo terminal operators, is necessary. Now this is a huge task. It's not an easy task. Customs is working on it. Department of Revenue is working on it. The airport authority is working on it. And if we are able to reach that, then that would bring us to a different league, different standard altogether. Then we need to curb delays for time taken for FSSAI clearance. I believe the FSSAI is looking into this, and hopefully this should be settled soon. The next bullet, I believe, is the most important. We need to establish an IT interface between Director General Foreign Trade, Customs, Excise, ADC, FSSAI, plant quarantine, animal quarantine, etc., to eliminate the need of physical documents. Certain documents also need to be made online. Joint Secretary Customs, Mr. Bhatnagar, is looking into these issues. I wish he was here to throw more light on this. But I am quite sure that this will happen at least 6 to 8 months or maybe a year down the line. Then the next issue is a new innovation that we have tried to create through explicit guidelines in consultation with the Ministry of Civil Aviation. And these are air freight stations on the lines of inland container depots and container freight stations. The guidelines have been issued, but we haven't received any proposals or applications so far. These would help to decongest airports very substantially. So those entrepreneurs among you who are interested, this is a great business opportunity. We also need to have transshipment clearance online. We'll discuss this during the panel. There are some expert members who could throw some light on this. Then we have different security declarations required by different airlines. The Bureau of Civil Aviation Security is looking into this, and we need to streamline this because it is causing a little problem to the different stakeholders. The next point again is very important. Looking at the growth of e-commerce, we used to do an e-commerce business of about $3 billion 3 years ago. 14-15 figures are closing at close to $25 billion. And it is estimated that by the time these 2.5 lakh panchayats get broadband connection, in 5 years we may touch $100 billion. If that is the growth of e-commerce, demand for e-commerce shipments to be allowed through courier mode is something our colleague from the Ministry of Civil Aviation will talk about. Or is it Mr. Kanwar? I don't know, one of the two. Dutiable cargo being imported through courier has security and revenue implications. This also we will discuss in the panel. I move on to some other significant issues which have been raised by the exporters through the medium of FIO. We need to develop air cargo hubs in India. Our economic advisor from the Ministry of Civil Aviation will discuss this when we sit in the panel doing that. Congestion at airport cargo terminals. As I mentioned, air freight stations will look after this. I believe Concor is developing about 12 odd proposals in the whole country, and there are several other private players who are looking into the guidelines to send us applications. Skill development in air cargos sector, I mentioned the Aviation University should look after that. One of the issues raised by some of the very progressive exporters is that air cargo clearance during weekends should be enabled. Now, MOCA and the Central Board of Excise and Customs is looking into this, but till sufficient volumes come on the weekends, it would be difficult to propel this into an actuality. Reduction of free period for storage of imported goods from 72 hours to 48 hours is a demand that has been raised several times. A subcommittee of MOCA is looking into this. We will request the economic advisor to throw some light on this. Then the air freight sector, as I mentioned, is growing at 11%, and international cargo at some of the joint venture airports is growing at 70%. The joint venture airports have projected a cargo target of 1.5 million tons by 2018-19. We'll ask Mr. Panikkar to tell us whether this is feasible. Sorry. Then there is a requirement to transport life-saving drugs, gems and jewelry, perishable goods. Mumbai, Delhi, Chennai, Thiruvananthapuram, Hyderabad, Lucknow and Kochi airports are doing this now. We need to enable the other airports to do this also, because a large part of the export business is on these three commodities. A shuttle service is required by some air freight carriers between major trading cities like Mumbai and Singapore to cut costs. This will require adequate volumes to make it a reality, but since it is one of the issues flagged, I thought I'll mention it here. One of the kinks in the whole system is the frequent breakdown with customs ice gate, and this needs to be fixed. I believe customs is looking hard into this, and I'm sure things will work well. Now, going on to specific airports, there are certain issues which have been highlighted. Let me quickly run them down. Mumbai, there is no storage outside the general export cargo, I believe, leading to dumping of boxes and pallets inside the facility. This is something Mail can tell us more, but I'm sure Panikkar can throw some light on this. We need better road connectivity for access to the truck dock in Mumbai, and I believe there is a 3,000 crore project which JNPT is working on. In Trivandrum, we need chill fish storage facility, which has been created but is still not functional, so that needs to be worked at. In Ahmedabad, we need a similar facility at the airport. To strengthen the air connectivity between Ambur, the Vellore Civil Airport needs to be developed, and I will request the economic advisor to tell us whether that is being looked at. At Lucknow, the need to provide pre-cooling chambers and X-ray machines in Amosi Airport has been highlighted, because the exports of mangoes is not taking place from Lucknow but is coming all the way to Delhi. So this needs to be, EDI connectivity also is required to boost the exports. Coimbatore has no further scope for expansion, so new airport hubs can be either created at Kangiam with easy access to the export towns of Tirupur, Erode and Karur. Air cargo facilities are required at the Imphal airport to support exports from the northeastern region. We move on to Surat. We have heard about Surat and the diamonds. Now there's a lack of airport facility at Surat, which is creating a problem. A lot of importers stay at Mumbai and trade from there. There's a lot of demand for Surat to become an international airport. Cargo complex between Vizag and Kakinada is a requirement, and I believe Gannavaram Airport or Madhurwada Airport near Rajamundry has been found feasible. Again, we'll request the economic advisor to throw some light on this. And there's a need to develop an airport at Mamnoor, Warangal with a cargo facility. Now, those of you not familiar, we are one of the largest producers of vitrified tiles and digital wall tiles at Morbi. There are a large number of small-scale unorganized units operating there. So I believe there's a need for upgradation of the airport at Mumbai to export these tiles. Kolhapur also is asking for an airport for export of handicrafts. Now, one of the areas in the country, Northeast, is normally neglected in all these seminars, so I thought I'll put a slide on that also. For those of you not familiar, there are 12 operational airports in the Northeast, and Guwahati and Imphal are international airports, while others are domestic, while Bagdogra is only a customs airport. 3 new greenfield airports are being created in the Northeast: Paikong at Sikkim, Itanagar, Arunachal, where the DPR is under preparation, and Ruza Fema in Kohima, where a feasibility study is being planned. I'm giving you this inside information because the Department of Commerce did a study and this is what came out of it. Guwahati Airport surprisingly has full international status in principle, but there are no flights operating from Guwahati for export to other neighboring countries, except to Bhutan. Those of you from the airline business can look at this opportunity. It will be a great opportunity in future. For the Southeast and the Southeast Asia, Guwahati can become the airport hub and can export a lot of perishable goods, orchids and flowers from these places, including spices and probably in future rubber. Now, this is a very dismal picture. We have only 49 airports connected by airlines today, commercial flights. And 8 airports which were earlier functional are not functional today. So this is something we need to look at. I believe MOCA is trying to create nearly 250 airports by 2020. So I'm sure all the non-operational airports will see the light of the day sometime. I think this is going to be my last slide. It's the font is a little small. There are 37 non-operational airports in the country, including the Northeast. At these 37 non-operational airports can be made operational, that itself will add a tremendous amount of air cargo to the business of air freighting. Many of these airports were built at considerable cost, and therefore MOCA is looking into this to ensure that we are able to get substantial business. Now, Neetu, you have to tell me what am I supposed to do? Thank you.